Yeah, the impact of family dynamics. What kind of family dynamic do you have, positive or negative? We understand that negative family dynamics such as conflict, neglect, and abuse can lead to psychological distress and negative outcomes. And the impact of family dynamics can continue into adulthood. Our relationships with family members can influence our romantic relationships, friendships, and professional relationships. Well, which one do you have, positive or negative? Our guest this morning is going to help us to speak with that. Mr. Dejishomi is a family systems engineer. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam.
First of all, what is family systems engineering? Because we could easily have called you Engineer Dejishomi.
And that would be almost correct, but yes, because I'm an architect, but I am a family systems engineer. Family systems engineering is the study of human development over time and how it relates to systems that govern human development and how it relates to the individual, to the family, and by means to the nation. Definitely, because today it's an individual, it's your dad, it's your cousin, it's just family today. But those individuals tomorrow are leaders of the society, they are the government, they are the people. And that is where humanity exists. So that is what family systems engineering is.
Okay, the focus of our conversation is essentially lifestyle. I'm sure everyone has met one person or the other in the course of working, relating with people, going to the banks, going to telcos, going on. You just be, why is this person behaving like this? When you hear such comments, what comes, when you observe such things as a specialist, what comes to your mind?
A lot of things come to the mind, but the simple and the first thing that comes to the mind is, where did this person come from?
Where did they grow up from?
Yeah, where did he grow up from? What have been their environment? And apart from those two things that will happen while they are growing up, what have their own experiences been? That's what's important. We have a saying that except you step into somebody's life, you don't know what you're thinking. And the place of understanding is what we need to give before we go on offensive with anyone, because you don't know what might be going on in their minds. First of all, let's call family what it is. Family can be defined as a group of more than two people living together, related by birth, by blood, or by adoption. But at our own end, we call family a group of two or more people supported and loved unconditionally in spite of that person and in spite of what we call their negatives. So one of the things that matters in life is that, are we considered? Is somebody in our corner? Is somebody going to support us no matter what we do? Now, if I am leaving home in the morning and I've had an argument with my partner, or if I don't have a partner, I'm not in a good state of mind, or my children are not doing so well and it bothers me, I'm carrying a load already very early in the morning. The first person that bumps into me is going to get some reaction.
Of course.
Because I'm not in a good state of mind. But if I come from a place where there is love, there is support, it takes a lot to be able to love somebody unconditionally. But if you look inwards and deeply, that is what we all really want. Somebody just to take me the way I am. Consideration. That is the first sin. And that is most of the time the only sin.
Mr. Shomi.
Yes, ma'am.
Does loving somebody unconditionally mean that when they do wrong, you don't tell them that they have done wrong?
Okay. Loving...
Sorry, I've not finished.
Yes, ma'am.
Or when they commit a crime and you are aware of it, you cover it up. Is that part of unconditional love?
That is not part of unconditional love.
Okay.
Unconditional love starts from day zero for any individual, whereby the parents or the handlers of this individual are able to teach the person right from wrong, what the law is, having a moral compass, so it doesn't even get to the place whereby the person has to commit a crime. Because if you're loving them unconditionally and for that reason you want to hide their crime, what you are doing is you are causing damage to another person or a set of persons. Because every one individual is connected most of the time by at least two people, and those two people have families. So hiding their sins or their crimes is not loving them unconditionally. Part of loving them unconditionally is letting them know that everything has consequences and teaching them to be intentional at all times to choose good over bad.
What determines good?
Now, that is a place where science has always struggled. Nature and nurture. In family systems engineering, we believe that a child is like a stem cell. It is blank. So everything that it knows or does to an extent has been learned from those around
him.
So it's a culture.
It's a culture. What kind of family culture are you practicing? And cultures, mind you, are intentional. Now, for those who would say, oh, we can't change that. That is how we've met that. Culture is defined as the behavior of a group of people at a particular point in time.
And so, culture is dynamic.
It's dynamic, and culture is progressive. So what applied in 1902 might not apply today.
True.
And please, people should not forget that those cultures that were created back then happened at different part of development of humanity, when a particular gender was not even considered equal enough to be in the place.
Thank you.
So we can have a new family culture that allows everybody to be fine. We can choose respect, which is always earned, mind you, over fear.
Okay. Like men kneeling down to propose to women.
Yes,
I saw a video in the course of the week where a boy was proposing to a girl and said, a Nigerian boy, of course, and said, "It is not in my culture for young men to kneel down for women. He was taught to only kneel down for the almighty being."
Yes.
So, and he was explaining this to the girl. "I am not going to kneel down, but I'm going to ask you nicely if you will marry me." Is there anything wrong with that?
Now, what happened there in this scenario speaks exactly to what I just spoke about, culture. Everything in this life, when you think deeply, is about wants and needs. What do you need? What do you want? Needs are always more important than what we want.
Yes.
And everybody seems to say that, but do we really believe that or act it out? No, we don't. But we think that we do. What that lady in question needs and what that gentleman needs is a companion to be with for life. Somebody that can choose you at every point in time. When the world seems to be against you, there is just one person that will say, "Don't worry, we can face them."
You.
That is what they need. Lying down underwater, kneeling down, flying in the air doesn't really matter. That is just a gesture. That is a want.
Mr. Shomi.
Yes, sir.
That's what they call savage.
No, it's okay. I'm trying not to be savage, but I'm trying to be clear.
But
you are very clear.
There is something that I think, you've spoken about culture.
Yes, sir.
Would you say that we are deliberate about culture, particularly from the family levels? Here is what I mean.
Yes, sir.
There are what I can call accidental parents.
Yes.
They didn't want to be parents. It just happened by mistake, even though, I don't know, like a mistake that goes through a process, you know, but it happened by mistake. And they are parents. They even tried to make it not happen. Eventually, it did. So that is one. Secondly, you know, people from different kinds of homes, nuclear family, expanded, extended family,
yes,
blended family, and all those things.
Single parent families.
Single parent families and all those things. So how do we create, is there a way to, I don't even know how to put it. In other words, such that every child or product of every one of such different kinds of families feed into a particular culture that fosters the national growth?
There's a cliche. Planning to fail is failing to plan. Now, humanity is special in its way, in that if you want a job, you train. If you want to have a good life, you go to school. There's education. Almost for anything that you want to do, there is always some intentional step to get an education, to enhance your skills, to be able to fix that. Except when it comes to family life. Then that's where it is easy to assume. None of us have been married before. None of us have been parents before it happened. Why are we not getting an education towards that? It's a long story, but why is it not in our education culture? Why is it not in our schools? How do you know what you don't know how to do? How do you know what is wrong and what is right? Everybody says there has to be tolerance. You have to give acceptance to people, but there is pseudo-acceptance and there is real acceptance. Coming back to what you just asked me, there is a way, there is a culture, but you have to get the knowledge on how to do that. It is simple. Anybody who is supported, most of the time, if the support is real and is in a way that it's in abundance, you reduce a lot of trauma from that person's life. A lot of trauma, just by getting some things right. Okay, knowledge is weird as it can be. I'll give an example. You know those toast machines, those ones that have those triangles? I was trying to use it for the first time by myself. I always bought those snacks, or somebody always made it for me. I never paid attention. So the day I paid attention, I saw a woman using a brush, taking butter and polishing the mold. I'm guessing so that the bread does not stick to the pan. So she did that, and the first time I was going to do it myself at home, that's what I did. It was a little bit clunky. It took me about 2-3 minutes to do that, then get the bread and put it in the bread. But after I finished, I was proud of myself. I was like, wow, I made this. And I ate it, and it was tastier than the rest because I made it. Then one day, my daughter just walks past me to the kitchen. I'm like, what's up, Nemi? And she says, oh, I want to make toast bread. Then she brings out the bread, takes a bread knife, splashes butter on the outer part of a piece of bread in like 10 seconds, puts it in, and it's done. And I was like, what? That's how it's done? Oh. Then I learned a lesson there. That is, somebody who I would probably not be able to learn from normally just taught me something. I did not seek knowledge before making my toast bread that, okay, this thing has to have a manual. There has to be a way to do these things. Then, that person that rubbed the mold, I never asked the question, why did they rub that mold instead? For them, they were commercial. So that keeps it preheated. They can keep on putting new toast bread for the next 10-15 minutes before they have to do it again. Because by that time, my daughter's way of rubbing every bread now might not work. Now, if you're not wearing gloves, it might not seem hygienic. What I'm trying to say is that there is basic knowledge for families, family living, to raise children, wholesome parenting, and wholesome marriages. Then, because of the two of you are unique individuals, there will be some things that work in between both of you and in your family than in other families. All those can be taught to you.
Taught to you, meaning that new parents need to seek knowledge.
Before they even become parents, they need to seek out knowledge.
Well, can't they
on how
just
to live.
copy and paste from...
That is the thing about copy and pasting. Copy and pasting is what I did by rubbing the mold. So copy and pasting is good to an extent because it gives you an idea, but then it goes beyond that.
I think the point you're trying to make, if I am not jumping ahead, is that parenting back in time has changed from what it is today. And new parents need to get the knowledge. A classic example is the why question. When today's parents were growing up, when they have children today, they say, go, my child, go and do something. Say, why? In their own day. I mean, just imagine asking your mommy or your daddy, mommy, why? That will probably be the last thing you see.
That is the one where they will ask, who born you?
I got the same question this morning. My son took a stab. He wanted to learn, yes. But he took the tab, which was almost run down. Then he took a power bank. And I told them, I am not a fan, I've always told you guys, I'm not a fan of you plugging devices and using them at the same time. Then I told him this morning, and someone to whom I've explained before, came up with this amazing answer or question. Why? Then I was about to tell him about how many ways it would have been hurt in 1981 when I was growing up, if you asked that question of my parents, or even my grandparents, who were supposed to be very nice.
What kind of backhand she would have received?
For being disrespectful. But I did something that I normally do now in life.
Explain.
Before you make any response, take 1 to 5 seconds. Nobody will call you slow. Use that time to sort out your own emotions. To think about why you felt like slapping, you felt like shouting.
Or servicing.
Or servicing that child. Just think about that. So I now told him that, look, these things, there's radiation, the laptop is on your thigh, is in your hand, there could be electrical shots, anything could happen, you could jump, and even that power bank can fall on your leg. And as you are using it, you know that because it's still on, it doesn't charge enough. It is better for you to have charged it to 100%, then start to use. You could drain the battery by doing that. And apart from that, I'm teaching you life skills as well. I'm asking you to organize yourself, to plan ahead. I'm going to use this tab. Then I will have charged it before then.
Now, one last thing, because we are barely 100 seconds. You talked about parents learning, about family dynamics and all those things. I'm wondering, so some PhD holder decides that I need to go to school to learn how to raise my family. Where do I go in the first place?
Okay.
And who is the person that is going to teach me? What does he know? I have PhD.
Internet.
Just so that you don't have to go back to school to go and reach into family science to get another PhD, we have in-betweens. We have academies who are teaching people, or institutes who are teaching people about family systems engineering. Family systems engineering is unique on the continent and even globally, because I can put it to anyone. Search for any particular institute that teaches about family and you will not find.
Wow.
This is unique. Now, the institute is Institute for Family Engineering and Development. That's where you can get that. you can learn for yourself, and you can learn to also be a service provider to other people. And I can assure you that in the at least 6 months that it takes, because it's a rigorous one, some people don't even get to finish that.
Wait. You're saying that there is a school to learn about family?
Yes.
Well, you'll come back another time to come and tell us that.
I'll tell you about that another time. But
right.
what you need to know is 2 things affect your family. Your relationship, that is your marriage, and the way you relate with your children. Now, there is parenting and there is marriage, but there is wholesome marriages and wholesome parenting. That's what's key.
Well, let's just pause, because some other time we're going to have to continue this conversation with you in particular, Mr. Showomi.
No problem.
Mr. Showomi is a family systems engineer. He's been with us talking about the impact of family dynamics. I think we have only gone to as far as the part of it.
It's a lot to unpack, but there's no time.
Thank you so much for coming here this morning.
And as my final word, if you don't mind, I want to invite you to our conference. We have a family life conference on the 15th at Muson Center at 9 a.m. Please bring your friends.
Okay.
You will learn a little bit.
We'll send our invoice to you as well. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Well, we are taking the last, what we call it, the home stretch, but right after the wrap.